He isn't fooled by the noise. While most people are out there scrambling, fighting for scraps, seeking approval from others who are just as lost, the Sigma stands apart. The constant chase, the approval, the likes, the fame, all distractions that do nothing but feed into a system designed to drain and control. To the world, success is about fitting into a predefined mold, climbing someone else's ladder to reach their version of the top. But for the Sigma, it's never been about their ladder. He's the kind of person who watches others struggle to climb, only to realize they're climbing a ladder leaning against the wrong wall, while others are hustling for promotions, titles, or the fleeting satisfaction of Instagram likes. He takes a step back, questions the entire system, and begins the real work, the work of self-mastery and the creation of something new. He doesn't care about playing by the rules. He questions who made them. While others fight over thrones, he vanishes into the shadows and builds his own kingdom from silence, solitude, and strategy. For him, there is no should, no set path, no expectations. He defines what matters, what success looks like, and how high the stakes truly are. The ladder that everyone else is climbing? He burns it, turns the ashes into fuel, and uses them to build something that can't be burned down. 1. He doesn't climb ladders. He burns them. Most people waste their precious years trying to impress gatekeepers who never had any real power to begin with. They beg for seats at tables that were never meant for them, hoping that one day their effort will be rewarded. The Sigma sees right through this. He understands that the system was never designed to elevate him. It was designed to keep him dependent, to keep him chasing empty promises. While the masses chase validation from the gatekeepers, the Sigma male makes an entirely different choice. He doesn't climb ladders built by others. He burns them down. Why chase a title that you don't even believe in? Why work tirelessly to fit into a mold that was never meant for you? The Sigma doesn't rise through their systems. He rises above them. His work, his influence, and his power don't depend on anyone's permission. The ladder is a tool of the weak. It's a structure designed to give the illusion of upward movement while keeping you tethered to the same place. 2. He knows most success is just controlled obedience. The corporate world, social media fame, influencer culture, they're all different faces of the same shallow game. The game of controlled obedience. The game where you play your part, follow the script, and pretend that doing so will bring you some kind of fulfillment. The Sigma doesn't play this game. He isn't fooled by the bright lights or the glittering prizes. He's acutely aware that most so-called success isn't about genuine achievement. It's about obedience. Obedience to a system that profits from your submission. Obedience to the rules made by people who stand to gain from your sacrifices. The truth is, when you're climbing someone else's ladder, your success is defined by their rules. The Sigma male refuses to abide by those rules. He's not here to be controlled. He's here to control his own narrative. Success within a system is often the reward for knowing how to be a compliant cog in its machine. When the Sigma looks at the mainstream world of success, he doesn't see a place for him. He sees a cage where the bars are invisible, but just as effective in keeping people in line. The Sigma male doesn't win inside the system. He creates new systems that can't be controlled. 3. He doesn't chase metrics. He creates meaning, likes, followers, applause, awards. These are just distractions for those who think validation comes from external measures. The Sigma doesn't measure his worth by how many people clap for him. He doesn't need to see his face on the front page of a magazine or hear the crowd cheering him on. These things are fleeting, and in the grand scheme of life, they mean nothing. What matters to the Sigma is purpose. The kind of purpose that drives you forward even when the world is silent. The kind of purpose that pushes you to build, to create, to innovate when no one is watching. The Sigma doesn't need a scoreboard to tell him he's winning. He knows his value is defined by what he creates, not by how many people applaud it. You can't measure the power of purpose with likes or follows. True meaning can only be measured by impact, and impact doesn't depend on applause. While others are begging to be seen, he's making sure that his work can't be ignored. Even when the world refuses to acknowledge him, he quietly disrupts and redefines what is possible. His silence is the precursor to his revolution. 4. He refuses to play zero-sum games. The world we live in is built on zero-sum games. The idea that for one person to win, another must lose. This is the fundamental lie of competition. Society tells us that there are limited resources, limited opportunities, and that only the strongest, the most ruthless, or the most compliant can succeed. But the Sigma male sees through this lie. He doesn't want to tear others down to build himself up. He isn't driven by a desire to crush his competition. What makes the Sigma dangerous is that he doesn't play the game by their rules. He doesn't want to take your position, he wants to build an entirely new game. He doesn't need your throne to rule. He's busy building his own empire. The world tells you that for you to win, someone else must lose. The Sigma male shows you that winning is not a zero-sum game. It's about creating a world where everyone can rise. And that's what truly sets him apart. He's not interested in domination. He's interested in liberation. His work isn't about taking, it's about giving others the freedom to build their own empires as well. 5. He's immune to status traps. In a world obsessed with status symbols, fancy cars, designer suits, VIP sections, exclusive memberships, the Sigma male stands as a quiet anomaly. To him, these things are nothing but distractions. He doesn't need to flaunt his success to prove his worth. Most people confuse external success with internal mastery. They believe that wearing the right brand or living in the right zip code automatically means they've made it. But the Sigma knows better. Real power doesn't need to perform. It just is. The true measure of power is not how loud you speak, but how quietly you can make the world listen. The Sigma male is more focused on the mastery of his own mind, the building of his own freedom, and the crafting of his own life than any superficial status symbol. And when he's free, when he doesn't need to conform to the expectations of the world, he becomes an unstoppable force. 6. He doesn't win by outperforming, he wins by outlasting. The Sigma doesn't burn out chasing someone else's version of success. He doesn't fall victim to the constant need for validation. He doesn't care if the world recognizes his achievements today. He doesn't rise and fall with the trends. While others rush to burn through their energy performing for approval, the Sigma takes a slower, more deliberate approach. His strategy is endurance. He's in this for the long haul. When others get tired, distracted, or disillusioned, the Sigma male is just getting started. His wins don't come from outperforming others. His wins come from outlasting them. And when the dust settles and everyone else is burned out, distracted by the chaos they created, he'll still be standing. 7. He doesn't work to impress. He works to escape. In a world that measures success by the cars you drive, the clothes you wear, and the parties you attend, the Sigma male stands in stark contrast. He doesn't grind to flex. He doesn't hustle for the aesthetic of success or to accumulate fleeting objects that will soon lose their luster. He's not interested in a life of empty showmanship, he's focused on the ultimate escape. While the masses rush to build an image, the Sigma male is quietly working towards something far more valuable. Freedom. Real freedom. The kind that comes when you no longer need to answer to anyone. The kind that isn't bound by the constraints of societal expectations or the burden of debt-driven desire. For the Sigma, the goal is simple: escape velocity. It's about the point where he no longer needs to chase money, recognition, or approval because he's built a life that doesn't demand it. His grind is not for public consumption. It's surgical, private, ruthless. Every move he makes is calculated to pull him further away from the status quo and closer to the kind of life he wants, a life of sovereignty. The grind of others is to impress. The Sigma's grind is to escape the game entirely. He doesn't care if people notice his success. He's not trying to prove anything to anyone. His work is for him and him alone. To others, it may look like he's doing less, but what they don't understand is that he's actually doing the one thing that matters. He's building the life he's always wanted, and it doesn't require anyone else's permission. 8. He uses invisibility as an asset. Invisibility is often seen as a disadvantage in today's world. People want to be seen, to be acknowledged, to be heard. The louder you are, the more likely you are to get attention, right? But for the Sigma male, being underestimated is the most powerful asset he can have. While the world is scrambling to be seen, to be the center of attention, he's quietly moving behind the scenes, collecting data, refining his skills, and preparing for the day when his work can no longer be ignored. He doesn't announce his moves, he reveals his results. Invisibility isn't weakness, it's strategy. While the world is distracted, I'm already 3 steps ahead, hidden in plain sight. When everyone else is desperate to be noticed, the Sigma doesn't need to shout to make an impact. He operates in silence, perfecting his craft until he's untouchable. By the time the world wakes up to what he's built, they'll realize that they've been missing out all along, and by then, it will be too late to catch up. 9. He refuses to be trained by the system. He escapes. The traditional system tells us we need to follow the established paths. Go to school, get a degree, climb the corporate ladder, save for retirement, and so on. It's a system designed to keep you within its bounds, molding you into a predictable cog in a machine that profits from your obedience. But the Sigma male refuses to buy into this. He doesn't take advice from people who are just as stuck as he was, people trapped in the same system that he's trying to escape. He refuses to follow a prescribed path laid out by those who are still shackled by the same broken structure. The Sigma doesn't let the system train him, he trains himself. You can't learn to live freely from people who are still bound by their chains. The Sigma doesn't listen to influencers, motivational speakers, or so-called success gurus who are all selling the same lie, that there's a one-size-fits-all path to happiness. He designs his own doctrine. He writes his own map. He doesn't need anyone to show him the way, because he's already figured it out, and he's willing to go where others dare not. By rejecting conventional advice, the Sigma doesn't just break free from the system. He creates a new one that works for him and anyone else bold enough to follow. 10. He's not just building for himself. He's building a new model. He's not just constructing his own kingdom in isolation. He's laying the foundation for a new way of living, a way that is free from the chains of societal expectations, the relentless grind of capitalism, and the constant pressure to conform. The Sigma male is building more than just wealth. He's building autonomy, freedom, and self-determination for everyone who dares to think differently. Success isn't just about winning. It's about showing others that they can win on their own terms too. His empire is one of liberation, not just for himself, but for anyone willing to see the truth that they don't have to fit into a broken system to find success. He's not trying to be a king. He's showing others how to create their own kingdoms. And when they see that it's possible, they'll understand that the world doesn't have to be the way they've been told it must be. On a final note, the mountain was never the goal. Freedom was. The Sigma male's journey is not about climbing someone else's mountain. It's not about reaching the top of a system that was never designed with his best interests in mind. It's about building a mountain of his own. He doesn't care about titles, fame, or accolades. His goal was never to rise through someone else's hierarchy. His goal was to create something new, something that can't be touched by the broken systems of the world. When the world finally looks up to see what he's built, they'll realize they've been too distracted by their own climb to notice the mountain that's been rising beside them all along. And by then, it will be too late.